morning, good afternoon, good evening, family. I have another message I'd like to share with everybody. And family, I will be calling this one here, How to Deal with Pain and Suffering as Children of Yah. A glimpse of heaven, okay? As children of Yah, how do we deal with pain and suffering? Okay? And then I'll be reading about a glimpse of heaven, where the souls of the just go once our body dies. And you don't want to miss any parts of this message, family. So in my last couple of messages, I read from scripture that it is Yah's will that sometime his people are supposed to suffer. And in the book of 2 Baruch, chapter 52, it actually says that we should rejoice when it's our time to suffer. Okay, and so a lot of people may not understand how that looks. How are we supposed to rejoice when we're suffering? Okay, you will see in this message, family, that that when it's all said and done, where our souls go once our body dies. Okay, now as far as like suffering for Yah. Okay, now it says we should rejoice when it's our time to suffer. And all of our suffering may not be the same. Some people may be suffering from, a disease, pain in their body. And other people may be suffering from stuff in other ways. Okay, now, it doesn't mean like because you're suffering, you may be dealing with diabetes or high blood pressure, something like that, or you might have cancer or something like that, or arthritis or something like that. It doesn't mean when it says rejoice in our suffering, family, it doesn't mean that we're supposed to like just be full of joy, clapping about it and shouting like hip hip hooray because I got this sickness or this disease or something. No, not that kind of rejoicing. No, family. Okay, as we experience these things, these sufferings, and okay, we will experience feeling sorrowful. We will experience, sadness. We will shed tears because of this suffering. And so those things we will experience, shedding tears, and all of that. But in spite of that, family, inside of us believers, all of us who belong to Yah, in spite of suffering, in spite of crying, in spite of looking sad, in spite of feeling sorrowful for what you're dealing with, in spite of that, we have this thing inside of us, and it's a supernatural thing. So that means you can't see it. But what's inside of us believers is that in spite of the suffering, that we know that someday we will be with Yah. It will pay off in the end for going through these difficult times, these sufferings. Okay, as children of Yah, okay, we go through the motions of suffering, but in spite of it, family, we know deep down inside of us that our Father loves us and that it won't last forever, this suffering, and that we shall be with him someday. Okay? But we just got to get through the suffering. Okay, family? So rejoice inside means like we know someday that it will end. And we will be with our Father. We will never suffer again during that time. We will never shed tears again during that time. We will never feel pain again during that time. We will never die again. We will never grow old again. We will never feel sadness again. Once our time in this natural realm is up and our body dies and our souls go to be with our Father. That's also a physical realm, but it is spiritual. It's hard to understand, but it's also a physical realm, but we just can't see it with our natural eyes. Okay, and I'll be coming from the 66 out of Hebrews and Psalms, and then I'll be coming out of the Lost Scriptures, the Apocalypse of Paul again. Okay, like after our body dies, where our soul goes in heaven to be with Yah and the saints and all of our ancestors that are there now waiting for us. Okay, so I'll start reading, family, from Hebrews chapter 11. And it seemed like my vision as I age is getting better. It's not dimming, it's getting better. So that's, I would say, a testimony from the Ruach HaKodesh. My eyesight is not getting worse as I age. It's actually getting better. Maybe a few years ago, watching TV on my big screen in my bedroom or either out here, I used to need to wear my glasses, because I was nearsighted. And so things at a distance would be blurry. So I would need my glasses to read words at a distance. So I used to watch TV with my prescription glasses. But now I don't have to do that no more. I don't have to do it. I don't have to wear my glasses, watch the TV no more. And actually, I actually see these words better in this Sefer Bible better now than I did when I first bought it a couple years or so ago. So like I said, I'll be coming out of Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. And so, family, this is talking about, for all of us who belong to Yah, we must have faith, okay? But without faith, it is impossible to please him, for he that comes to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So even though we might be suffering, pain, we might be afflicted by evil spirits from time to time, not all of us, but some of us, have to deal with that. And so that may be your suffering, because sometimes I deal with that. They hate that I teach the word of Yah, but I could care less how they feel. And so he said that we're supposed to rejoice, not, like I said, not be clapping because we got this sorrowful and these afflictions and these these sufferings. No, we ain't clapping outwardly and stuff like that because we got this, but rejoicing within, family, that we know that it will end soon. And when our time is up on this earth, that we go to be in glory with our Father, and we will never have to experience anything remotely near suffering. Those days will be over. So we must have faith, that those days and those times are coming as children of Yah. And then somebody might say, what is faith? Okay, family, faith is something you can't see. Okay? Romans chapter 11, verse 1, it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I'll let you see for yourself. No, I can't do it with this phone because my other phone, my newer phone, is, for some reason, I was going to start a video with this one, and it was really blurry. I could barely see myself, and I cleaned the lens off with alcohol, and all that kind of stuff, but the picture is really blurry. I hate that phone. Yeah, I bought it after I bought this phone that I'm using. It's a Galaxy A16, and I bought it a couple years ago, and ever since, it never has, worked perfectly like this old phone, the Galaxy A15. I never had problems with it at all. The only thing that this Galaxy A16 phone does that this Galaxy A15 doesn't do, the one that I'm recording on right now, is that it doesn't have that reverse, like you want to show, like I want to show you guys what I'm reading. I can't do it with the Galaxy A15, but I can do it with the Galaxy A16. That's the only thing on this phone that I like. You can flip it, and see, reverse sides, but with the Galaxy A15 you can't do that. Well, other than that, this phone is much better than that in every shape, form, and fashion. You know what I'm saying? I never had any problems with recording off this phone, for all the length of time that I had it. So in time I will be replacing this Galaxy 16 phone, because it's just really been a headache ever since I bought it a couple of years ago. Okay, since I can't show the scriptures, okay, I'm in Romans chapter 1, chapter 11, verse 1, and it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So faith is something we as believers that belong to Yah, we have it, but faith is something that we can't see. Okay, in order to please our Father, we must have faith, believing those things that we can't see yet, believing that all those things that is written in Scripture that He has laid up for us, we must believe it with our faith, that it does exist even though we can't see it yet. So that's what faith is all about. Believing in something that you can't see yet, hoping for something that you can't see yet. So that's what having faith is all about, family. Okay, now, family, now I'll be going over to Psalms chapter 56, verses 3 to 13. And I just want you to understand, family, that, Yah loves us so much. He loves us so much. Every time we cry, when we're suffering and stuff like that, afflictions and stuff, every time we who belong to Yah shed tears, He has angels around us catching our tears in bottles. I've read this book from a person who was a believer, and it was called A Divine Revelation of Heaven. And she was shown some things in heaven. And she said there's a large room that, Yahushua Mashiach came to her and her husband while she was laying in her bed asleep about 3 a.m. And she said that, I think it was an angel, she said, came and took her soul out of her body. And she said they ascended through the roof, through the ceiling, through the roof of their home. And she said when the angel took her up in the air, that she could look down from the top of the home and she could still see her husband laying in the bed, and she could also see her body laying next to him. But her soul was taken out of her body. And I told this angel to take her up to heaven to show her different parts of it. Not all of heaven, but different parts of it. And I remember that she said that it's a large room in heaven. Angels 12 feet tall, like, garden heaven and stuff. And, it's just so organized, and it's just a magnificent sight to behold, the way she was describing stuff that she saw. And she says a real large room in heaven. And all of us believers who belong to our Father, that when we cry, when we suffer in this earth, that He have His angels capturing our tears in bottles. She said it's a huge room in that part of heaven she was taken to. And she said another thing, she said, beautiful music is always playing in heaven. She said songs she had never heard before, but just, music has always been played. And she said that like the unison, everything was in unison. The music, the flowers she saw, the angels she saw, everything was in unison together. You know what I'm saying? The way she was trying to describe it, you know what I'm saying? And like the butterflies she saw, their wings was flapping to the beat of the music. The flowers was moving and swaying to the beat of the music. And she said it was just such a beautiful sight, the parts that she was shown. And she said this huge room in heaven, Yah sent His angels to capture all of our tears. And all of our tears are in this large room in heaven in bottles. And the bottles have our names on it. So now what I'm finna read now from Psalms chapter 56, Psalms chapter 56. This is King David praying to Yah, and he had the Ruach HaKodesh. He really did. He was the greatest king Israel ever had, besides our Messiah, So if I can just turn it, Psalms. Okie dokie, family. Psalms chapter 56, verse 3 to 13. And it reads like this. What time I am afraid, I will trust in you. In Elohim, I will praise his word. In Elohim, I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do to me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. Shall they escape by iniquity? In your anger, cast down the people, O Elohim. He's talking about his enemies. Okay, verse 8 says, you tell my wanderings, put my tears into your bottles. Are they not in your sefer, your book? See, David already knew that. He knew that because he had the Ruach HaKodesh. That all of us who belong to Father Yah, he have his angels around us, catching our tears in bottles when we cry, when we're suffering, okay, in this world. When I cry to you, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for Elohim is for me. In Elohim will I praise his word. In Yahuwah will I praise his word. In Elohim have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do to me. Your vows are upon me, O Elohim. I will render praises to you, for you have delivered my soul from death. Will not you deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before Elohim in the light of the living? Okay, family, so, every time we are feeling sorrowful and shedding tears by these sufferings that we have to endure in this world, just know, family, that Yah has angels around us capturing our tears in bottles. And someday when it's our time for our soul to go there, we will be shown this. Okay? Okay, now, family, I'll be going over to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 1 to 4. And check out what it says here. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1 to 4 says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, your face, the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. That's worldly pleasures constantly. The heart of a fool is in worldly pleasures constantly. So I've also read that in another huge book over there that I got in the room, it was saying that, we as children of Yah, we are not supposed to pleasure ourselves in this world with worldliness. And it says when we as children of Yah pleasure ourselves in this world, that we have to suffer because of it. And I haven't done a message on that yet. I was like, whoa. And it was saying, like, for the length of time you pleasure yourself, there's a length of time you must feel, you must suffer for. I was like, oh my goodness. So that's some of those higher learning books, family. But one day, man, it's like sometimes I read stuff and I think, wow, I don't know if the family ready to hear this kind of stuff yet. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I've read over stuff and it was really, really, as a believer, as a child of Yah, kind of like, because we still have this flesh some stuff is kind of difficult to accept and receive. So sometimes I choose not to share stuff because everybody ain't ready for it. But eventually, the Ruach is going to lead me to probably share some of that stuff that I've read, But we just have to prepare our hearts and ourselves, and we have to accept the bitter and the sweet in this walk, family. And here we go back again to the faith. Even though we experience sometimes suffering and times of sorrow and sadness as believers, and we cry sometimes because of this or that, or when somebody in our family pass away, but we're supposed to always have that hope as believers that we will see our loved ones again. Matter of fact, just thinking back when I was 15 years old, 1979, and I come from a big family. There was 6 girls and 6 boys. 2 oldest brothers first born, and one born in 47. My second oldest brother was born in 50, and then my mother and father had 6 girls in a row after the 2 older brothers. And so the 5th oldest in the family was my sister named Easter May. So when she was born in 56, so when she was 23 in 1979, I was 15 in the 10th grade. And 2 weeks before she died, she told me, my mother had got me and my brothers back from the foster home that January of 1979. And her and I was talking one day, and she told me, she said, "You're my favorite brother." And we kind of looked alike too. But she got killed in November that year. And they found her with all of her clothes off, skin under her nails, but she had not been raped. And but she was dumped in this ditch. And they said that she didn't die right away. So she was out there over a day, alive. And so whoever had attacked her, they hit her in the back of the head with something, because she had a huge, was swole up back there real big. And some blunt force object, they bludgeoned her to death. And when we went to go view her at the wake before they embalmed her, family, she had the biggest smile on her face. I never forgot that. She had a big smile. Even though she was found in a ditch outside naked, she had the big, like whatever was the last thing she saw before she died, it made her smile. And her smile was just such a big smile. And I was like, whoa. 15 years old, looking at my sister, who just told me, "You're my favorite brother." Now she was dead, and even years later, our second oldest sister was killed in Gary, Indiana in 1979. And somebody was shooting at somebody else, and she got hit by stray bullets, 2 stray bullets, And I had seen her that day. Her and I was together that day. And she was just about 10 years older than me. She was born in 54. I was born in 64. And she was killed in February of 1990. I was 26 at the time, and she hadn't had her 36th birthday yet, because her birthday was in May. And when I went to view her before she was embalmed, I can still remember the smile on her face. It brought back in memory of our other sister, who was right under her in age. And they both had the biggest smile on their faces. Like, our sister took a bullet in the chest and one in the torso area. And she had a big smile on her face, family. Both of my sisters who were murdered. And so I just never forgot that. So, and I just read in Ecclesiastes, it is better, we should rejoice when somebody dies and be sad when somebody is born. Okay? But we love our loved ones and stuff, and we're sad because we're going to miss them. But, in the word of Yah it says, we're supposed to keep our hope that we will see them again. Okay, so now, family, I'll be going over to the Lost Scriptures. The Lost Scriptures in the Apocalypse of Paul. Reading about, what happened to the soul of the just when our body dies. Okay? The other one was about what happens to the soul when an unjust person dies. Now, this is a glimpse of heaven, of what happens to our souls once our body dies, those of us who belong to Yah. Okay, and I got short chapters, 19, 22, 26, 27, 28. Very short chapters. See? Right, that's 19, and up there 22, and then over there 26, 27, 28. Okay, real short chapters. Okay, here we go, family. And the angel answered and said to me, have you perceived all these things? And I said, yes, sir. And he said to me, follow me again, and I will take you and show you the places of the just. And I followed the angel, and he raised me to the third heaven and placed me at the entry of the door. And looking, I saw that the door was of gold, and 2 columns of gold above it, full of golden letters. And the angel turned again to me and said, blessed are you if you enter through these doors. For it is not permitted for any to enter except those who have goodness and purity of body in all things. Already at chapter 22, family, okay? And I looked around upon that land. He's in the third heaven, so he's calling it land. See, the spirit realm is also a physical place. It's also physical, but it's just in the spiritual realm that we can't see with our natural eyes. The power of our Father is awesome. Can't be matched. Okay? And I looked around upon that land, and I saw a river flowing with milk and honey. And there were trees planted by the bank of that river, full of fruit. Moreover, each single tree bore 12 fruits in the year. 12 different fruits on a tree, having various and diverse fruits. And I saw the created things which are in that place, and all the work of Elohim. And I saw the palms of 20 cubits, but others of 10 cubits, and that land was 7 times brighter than silver. And there were trees full of fruit from the roots of the highest branches, from the roots to the highest branches, I meant to say, of 10,000 fruits of palms upon 10,000 fruits. The grapevines had 10,000 plants, okay? Moreover, in the single vines, there were 10,000 bunches, and in each of these, 1,000 single grapes. Moreover, these single trees bore 1,000 fruits. And I said to the angel, why does each tree bear 1,000 fruits? The angel answered and said to me, because the Adonai Elohim gives an abounding profusion of gifts to the worthy, and because they of their own will afflicted themselves when they were placed in the world, doing all things on account of his holy name. You know what he's saying? Those, when they was in the world, afflicted themselves. They chose to fast, and they did it all for the Most High. Okay? So people who go through fasts, people of Yah, when we take it upon ourselves to fast for whatever reason, that's between us and Yah, and we complete the fast, we all will be rewarded for these things, for afflicting our souls. That's what it's talking about. Afflicting our souls is when we fast, okay? Deny ourselves from food. And when I fast, I deny myself water too. So afflicting our souls is when we fast, okay? And again, I said to the angel, sir, are these the only promises which the Most High Elohim makes? And he answered and said to me, no. There are 7 times greater than these. But I say to you that when the just go out of the body, they shall see the promises and the good things which Elohim has prepared for them. Till then, they shall sigh and lament, saying, have we uttered any word from our mouth to grieve our neighbors, even on one day? You see what I'm saying? It said, until then, we're in the world dealing with sorrows and dealing with sufferings. Okay, and lamenting means we're crying. See, we don't see the glory that Yah has laid up for us yet. So his people, we will suffer sorrows and, we will have to suffer sometimes. Okay. But this angel is showing Paul all these good things that Yah has laid up for us that belong to him. Okay. Here's some other blessings. It's going to say about people who stay true to their chastity, people who are married and don't cheat on their spouses. Some good things are planned laid up for them in heaven. Okay. I asked and said again, are these alone the promises of Elohim? And the angel answered and said to me, these whom you now see are the souls of the married and those who kept their chastity of the nuptials, controlling themselves. So spouses who are married in the earth and don't cheat on each other, and when they die, they have special blessings Yah has laid up just for them. Okay? But to the virgins and those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, and those who afflicted themselves for the sake of the name of Elohim, Elohim will give 7 times greater than these, which I shall now show you. Chapter 26. Again, he led me where there is a river of milk, and I saw in that place all the infants whom Herod slew because of the name of Hamashiach. And they greeted me, and the angel said to me, all who keep the chastity and purity when they have come out of the body after they adore the Adonai Elohim are delivered to Michael and are led to the infants, and they greet them, saying that they are our brothers and friends and members. Among them they shall inherit the promises of Elohim. A glimpse of heaven, family, for the just. When our body dies and our souls go up to enjoy all that Yah has laid up for us. Chapter 27. Again, he took me up and brought me to the north of the city and led me where there was a river of wine. And there I saw Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our ancestors, Lot and Job, and other saints. And they greeted me, and I asked and said, what is this place, my Lord? The angel answered and said to me, all who have given hospitality to strangers in the world, when they go out of the world, first adore the Adonai Elohim and are delivered to Michael, and by his route are led into the city. And all the just greet them as sons and brothers, and say to them, because you have observed humanity and helped pilgrims, come, have an inheritance in the city of the Adonai Elohim. Every righteous person shall receive good things of Elohim in the city, according to his own action. And in closing, Apocalypse of Paul, chapter 28. And again, he carried me near the river of oil on the east of the city. And I saw there men rejoicing and singing psalms, poems, okay? Psalms, and I said, who are these, my Lord? And the angel said to me, these are they who devoted themselves to Elohim with their whole heart and had no pride in themselves. For all those who rejoice in the Adonai Elohim and sing psalms to the Adonai with their whole heart are here led into this city. You see, family, all the good things our Father has laid up for all of us that belong to him. And that was just a glimpse of it. There's so much more in heaven to behold. And you see, he was shown, Paul was shown that Yah has blessings laid up for people virgins, people who have never had sex in this world, married couples who never cheated on each other. They kept the chastity of their marriage. That will have special blessings for them. People who belong to Yah in this world now, who take it upon themselves to afflict their souls when we fast and continue to fast. Yah has blessings laid up for us as well. And it continues. And it continues, family. So, in spite of the sufferings as Yah's people that we have to experience in this world, in spite of it, Yah has great things laid up for us. So I just had to come on here and do a video and let you know, family, all of it gonna pay off when it's all said and done. This world now has been given to the wicked. The wicked are in charge of it. The Gentiles, Psalm 83. Everything about their kingdom is a lie. Everything about their kingdom is a lie. I can go through a list of everything that they set up is a lie. It's a lie. And I can't wait till it's all over. And I know some of you feel the same way. But even if it still exists when my time to be here is up, that will be just as great. Because when we leave these bodies, our souls leave these bodies, all of us who belong to Yah, we go to be with our ancestors and our Father and the rest of the heavenly hosts in glory. And we will never have another day of sorrow, sadness, tears, heartache, pain, grieving about anything. And we will never grow old. So family, this has been how to deal with pain and suffering as children of Yah. A glimpse of heaven. I hope you got some understanding in Yah's precious name. So family, until next time, may Yah bless you, your families. Stay safe, one love, and shalom.